So self-soothing, emotional regulation and sensory regulation isn't just for people with autism or other neurodivergent diagnoses. This is everyday people, everybody. And we all do a little bit of self-soothing and self-regulation, and you may not even be aware of it. So sometimes if I'm a little bit nervous, or if I'm just in a professional interview or meeting, I might just be like playing with my fingers under the table. And this is like an unconscious emotional regulation, self-soothing type of strategy that many of us do. We all have a sensory profile. And this video is going to be some strategies that we can all use, whether you have a neurodivergent diagnosis or not. And this will help manage anxiety. Anytime the nervous system is a little bit overwhelmed, I'm going to give you things that you can just do at work or during awkward conversations. And hopefully this will help you to be able to relax anytime that you need or want to. So the first, most simplest thing that you can do, even during any kind of conversation that's getting a little bit uncomfortable emotionally, is just bring a hand to the body. And it could be anywhere. I find personally a hand to this, like the solar plexus part of my body, is the most soothing for me. Sometimes the heart. If you're in a conversation, it might not be that appropriate. So it might be okay to bring the hand to the mid waist area, or maybe you'll just bring it to the legs, or maybe it'll be the hands. So this is about experimenting what works for you. So because for me, even just a bit of a finger massage helps as well. So it's a little bit of sensory regulation. The next thing to bring in is deeper breathing. And so we just place the hands on a part of the body and just increase that breath. So that deeper breath, and let it go all the way in. And the other thing you can do, if you're having like a strong emotional response and it's affecting your articulation, your ability to bring the right words together or the most appropriate or professional words together, it can just be a hand on the body, a breath, and saying to yourself in your mind, I'm just going to pause and be with the breath now. I'm just going to pause and be in my body now. And this is a nice way to just ground yourself and start to become aware of yourself in your body. So it could be, if you're standing, you bring your attention to the feet against the earth. And if you are sitting, it's your sitting bones against the chair and your feet against the earth. So just finding that one thing. It's a grounding motion, so you're touching, you're getting that self-soothing from the warmth of the hand and the pressure, like a gentle pressure or however much pressure feels appropriate and soothing for you. So this is something to experiment with. And we're adding the breath. And we're using our mind to just bring ourselves back into our body, and we get grounded. So that's number one, super easy. You can do it anywhere. You can do it in the car, sitting at the traffic lights. Don't close your eyes. You can do it during conversations, or you can even take yourself away and do it. So the next thing is, if you want to supercharge it, so say you're able, so I used to do this at work, managing my post-concussion, because my nervous system would just go into overload in the absence of worry. But either way, it doesn't matter if you're mentally stressed or not, and your body's just overwhelmed and going into a little bit of a sympathetic nervous system response, so overactive and tense. If you just want to calm down, whether it's the body, the mind, or both, this is a great way to supercharge it. I used to take myself away to a room where no one else was. So if you have the opportunity to do this, otherwise obviously do it when you get home. Try as best as possible to have no distractions. Obviously we can't always control someone walking in the room, but see if you can set that up for yourself by communicating, or even just sneaking off so no one knows where you are. So the way that I would supercharge the first strategy is to do legs up the wall. So, and I'll demonstrate just in a moment. It's super easy to get your legs up the wall. What that does is, I'll explain, I suppose, while I'm in it. So legs up the wall is a super quick way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system and get the body to calm down. So the way that I get in is to side shift my body up against the wall, so get it as close as possible to the wall. So your hip, one of your hips, doesn't matter which one. And then from here, you're bringing your hands back behind you to stabilize, and then you're walking the hands around as you swing your legs up the wall. And then once you're here, you might wriggle the butt. So I place my hands here to stabilize and then wriggle my butt right up against the wall. Now there's also the option here to get something underneath your sacrum, so you could bring this height in. So this again, this adds another element to activating the parasympathetic nervous system, because you're getting the hips higher than the heart. So this helps, so blood and oxygen carrying to the brain, it just eases the body so it doesn't have to work as hard against gravity. So you're helping it. I mean, it still goes at the same rate. The body has to adjust, but this does help to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. What we're also doing is our femurs. So now our feet are up, which we don't spend a lot of time with our feet up. And this is a really nice change for the body because it takes a load off. We're also unloading the lower spine, and we're letting our femur, this bone, drop into our hip socket, and this gentle weight of the femurs into the hip muscles gives a little pressure onto the sacrum, so that flat bony bit just above your tailbone. And so when we have that gentle pressure into that sacral area, we've just got a whole lot of nerves and blood flow into that area. And so this just helps to stimulate that a little bit. So having our legs up the wall, soldiers used to do this to manage the war. So can you imagine the pressure of the nervous system is under when you're at war? And soldiers used to do this to try and calm down at night. So if it's good enough for them, it's definitely good enough for us. And, you know, you can imagine why they would have got PTSD under all that pressure. So for us sort of regular folk who aren't at war, hopefully, I hope you're not in an abusive or traumatic situation, then this should be really effective, and it's really quick. So then you add in strategy number one. So you've got your legs up the wall. This is going to supercharge the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system. You can then bring two hands to the body if you want. So either both down at the solar plexus. So any combination that feels good for you on the legs, whatever feels good. And then we bring in that breath. Deeper and longer breaths. And then we bring in that self-talk that is just about being present. So I'm just going to be with my breath now. I'm just going to be in my body now. So pausing all the other conversations and thoughts in my head. The feelings are allowed to be there, but my attention is just going to be with my breath now. And I'm going to deepen and lengthen the breath. Now, there's more things you can do with the breath, which I am going to talk about. Excuse me, Siri. I'd like to sit up again now. Pets love it when you lie down. So whether they help you or not, you make that decision when you're getting yourself organized for legs up the wall. So the other thing, so actually I just want to talk quickly about self-talk. So you'll hear people recommend to do affirmations and to sort of self-talk, change it to positive self-talk. So I would only recommend this if what you're saying to yourself is true. We cannot convince ourselves of something that's not true. You could be in a situation that is actually really stressful and really hostile, and you can't sit there and try and talk yourself out of that like that, and it's counterproductive, and that actually will bring you more stress. So the type of self-talk, especially when you're in a hostile situation, really you just want to bring it really basic. I'm just going to be with my breath now. I'm just going to be in my body now and get through this moment. If it's not crazy stressful, then you can potentially bring in things that are true. Like, okay, well, I've been really successful at A, B, and C. I have these great characteristics or attributes of D, E, and F. So you could potentially sit down and identify these things that are good about you and the things you've done well at, and remember to remind yourself of them when you're doing this activity. I personally find it's just really easier and simpler to bring my attention to the breath and bring my attention to my body, but whatever works for you. So I just want to touch on sensory fidgets. So fidgets are things that you might often, OTs, we might prescribe them to children who are neurodivergent for class. So just to keep them from getting too distracted and distracting others in class. That's one use for them. Again, every single one of us has a sensory profile, and we can still tap into this same concept for our own sensory soothing and our own emotional regulation. So, colors, textures, shapes, smells, and sounds. So a fidget for a child or for anyone might be like a shaggy, rubbery toy that they can just squeeze and stretch. So again, it's about identifying what textures feel nice for you. It might be like a little piece of silk. What music or sounds might make you feel soothed and calm. What smells. So again, having a think about that, or even just knowing that, and having something handy. So say you're in an awkward conversation at work, but you might have a silky piece of material in your pocket that you can just put your hand in your pocket and just, rub on your fingers to make you feel soothed. It might be a lip balm or some sort of scent that you put on your wrist or somewhere that you can just smell. So that's another great strategy to have in place. If you have the space and the time and you can do legs up the wall, then you might also bring in a calming music, calming smell, a color. So sometimes specific colors are calming and soothing to us. So starting to explore those things about yourself. So you just saw that I had pets coming in, and obviously when I lie down, the dog loves to come over. So pets are amazing, and some people, especially neurodivergent people, will find pets to be a really amazing source of self-soothing and sensory regulation and emotional regulation. And what they can do is there's a couple of things they offer. A cat on the lap can offer weight, and it's that tactile pressure that can bring some soothing to people. So again, that's just something else you could use with legs up the wall, is like a heavy blanket on you if that's soothing for you, or even just the duvet or anything like that. But the pet also, if a cat's purring, that vibration can be really, really soothing for some people. So again, it's worth exploring, like what sort of feelings and physical sensations help you to calm down. But I find even with the dog and the cat, it's simply just that oxytocin, and it's simply just, so this dog here, this Dalmatian, she just oozes love. She's just a lover. There's not a mean bone in her body, and she just loves you unconditionally no matter what, and she wants to come up and give you love. And so she was coming up and licking me. That hugging and that love feeling is really soothing it, and it actually activates oxytocin in your body. So it's extremely valuable. So that's another thing worth exploring if possible for you. Other things that might be very effective but potentially less available but definitely worth taking on board is hugs. So hugging a human, hugging your kids. Hugging kids are amazing. They're such a beautiful source of energy. Yeah, hugging the pets, as I said before, and then also things like getting a massage. That obviously really relaxing if you like that tactile pressure. So before my animals here destroy my filming setup, I'm going to wrap it up. I really recommend just bringing on strategies as well as learning how to give less of a shit what other people think, because often our anxiety and our deregulation emotionally and sensorily comes from other people. Like, I mean, I'm the same. Other people sometimes just can really throw me out of whack. There's some great strategies on how to give less of a crap about what others think and what they're doing and saying in your life. So go check out my other video, which I've linked here, which is about how to not take things personally. I really hope you like this video. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, and I really hope I see you next time.